Alright, let's get started. Now remember my crude shop drawings. I've made a drawing of the rollout shelf that we'll be doing. Our opening is 25.5. Our shelf is 3/8 less, so it'll be 25 1/8. Our depth, 21 inches. The height of the back of our rollout shelf is 7. The front of our shelf, 2 3/4. And like always, I've listed my cutouts, sides, back, and front, so that when I go to the table saw, I know what I have to cut. And that's where we'll go now. We're going to use this stack of wood right here. These are my pieces that I have set aside, but we've got to trim them all to size. We're going to cut these all to size. We have to groove for the bottom, and then we have to cut the angle. And we'll show you how to do each of those steps. This piece we'll use for my sides. These will be my fronts and my backs. First thing we need to do is cut width, 7 inches. Our sides are 21 inches long, so we'll use our box sled to get the exact size on our sides and make them nice and square. The next thing we have to do is we have to run a groove to accept our bottom. It'll be on the sides, both sides, and along the face piece to accept our 1/4 inch bottom. We have to have a 1/2 inch space, then our 1/4 inch bottom. The 1/2 inch space is to allow for the locking device for the undermount drawer guides that we're going to be using. We've set our saw at the correct height, and so now we're going to go ahead and groove our pieces and then go from there. This piece will become the front of our rollout shelf. We're going to be cutting that down. These are our two sides. They'll go like this. Now, according to our drawing, we have to make an angle cut down the side of this so that our rollout shelf is high in the back and low in the front. I'm going to show you how I build a cheap little almost throwaway jig to do that cut. And it's just very simple. I'm going to show you how to do that now. We're getting ready to cut our angle now. We want to go from 2 3/4 inches back here so that we're the full height. But I don't want to go all the way to the back. I want to leave some. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to set our side on this piece of wood. And this is just a piece of 1/2 inch scrap that I had laying around. We're going to set this off here. We're going to mark a 2 3/4 here, and I think I'll come about 6 or 7 inches this way. It doesn't have to be the same every time. You can decide what works best, but I think I'm going to make it about there, and then we're going to line those 2 points up on our board, and then we're going to nail on some cleats to hold our drawer side in that position while we run it through the saw on our fence right here and take that cut off. I'll show you how we do that. Okay, we got it set exactly where I want it right now. So let's go ahead and nail on some cleats. We're just going to use 1/2 inch staples. Excuse me, 3/4 inch staples. We're going through 1/2 inch material. There's our jig. We'll take that over to the table saw now and just zip off that angle. One left, one right. Run our sides through the saw and we'll cut the angle. There we are, one left, one right. This measurement right here tells us how big to make our face piece. According to our tape measure, 2 3/4, just like on our drawing. So we'll cut 2 3/4 first. Our back piece goes only from the top here down to the groove. 6 1/4 inches, just as on my drawing. So we'll cut that piece next. Okay, now here's our front and our back piece, but you notice we haven't cut them to length. Let's show you how we have to calculate our length. We know that the width of our drawer was 25 1/8. So let's set our tape measure out here at 25 1/8. Right there we put 25 1/8. The thickness of our material shows us that 23 15/16 will be the inside measurement between the two sides. So let's cut these two pieces 23 15/16. We'll do that on our sled also. There's all our pieces. We'll assemble this much and then we'll know how big to cut our bottom. We're going to assemble now. We're going to be using 18 gauge 1.5" nails, just finished nails, and we're just going to butt joint and nail together, just like this. Our back piece will be flush with the top, so the best way to do that is to turn it over. Put our best top down and tip like this and hold and nail. Okay, there's our drawer together. Now we can measure for our bottom. We know that we want to slide in the grooves, so measuring from this point to this point gives us our width. We'll burn an inch and it tells us it's 25 7/16, so we know that we're 24 7/16 wide, and our 21-inch deep drawer has to allow for the thickness here, so it's going to be 20 5/8 deep. So check our measurement, measure twice, cut once. 24 7/8. 24 7/16. I'll remember. Okay, we've cut our bottom. We're going to check it and make sure that we're okay size-wise. There we are. Before I put it all the way down, I'm going to run a little bit of glue in here to glue this edge, and then we'll staple across the back edge to put the drawer bottom in solid. We use our drawer bottom to square up our drawer, so we make sure that we're tight against the front and tight against the side. We put one nail in, we go back over here, tight against this front, and then we nail across. And I always give a tap there and one little staple there, and that holds it square. So we know our drawer is square now, and we're ready to sand it out. But there's our rollout shelf right there. Put your groceries on here, shove it to the back, they don't fall off. Okay, we're getting ready to sand out our rollout shelf. The first thing I do is I take a sanding block, I knock off the little staples that I put in, and I break the edge, the sharp edge on the bottom side and the corners. Then we'll route the top and sand it. So we'll do all that now and you can watch. We use just a 1/8 inch round over to route the edges all the way around so that our drawer has a nice smooth top. Now we'll go back and sand our top edge with 80 grit sandpaper and then hand sand the round to clean it up. Okay, now we'll go back and we'll hand sand the route and clean it up nice and smooth all the way around. We sanded with 80 grit and we've got it cleaned up. I'm going to go back with some 150 and just smooth it out even more. Okay, let's blow it off and see what we've got. Okay, there's our rollout shelf. Now we used a pre-finished 5/8 Baltic birch, sanded the top edge even though we didn't put any finish on the top edge. It's nice and smooth. There's no splinters or anything to catch. And the nice smooth bottom is made out of 1/4 inch wood grain melamine so that it has a nice wood look all the way around. Now we'll show you the installed finished product, and you can see what a nice job it does and what a wonderful addition to your home and your pantry is when we do rollout shelves. We had a request from one of our viewers as to how I position my guides for my rollout shelves. So that's what we're going to do, and we'll do it here on the job. And the reason, I'm going to explain why I do it on the job, but let's start off going over some of the things that we have to work with. This is the jig that I use that shows me where to place my blocks. Now I'll put the block here. This block is a 1-inch spacer block, and the reason we use a 1-inch spacer block for our drawer guide is to space it out so that the hinges have room to work. And if you don't have room for the hinges, then the drawer guides don't work, or the rollout shelf doesn't work because the drawer guides are too close to the hinges. So you have to space out your drawer guide for the hinges, and this is the drawer guide. We're using a full extension soft close. These are 24 inches deep. We have a little extra deep cabinet, so we're using a 24-inch deep. But I just wanted to talk about the spacer block, the drawer guide, and the jig that I use that tells me where to place it. And the reason we use a jig is because this block has to line up by these holes. And so you'll see how it all comes together, but let's go ahead and put some blocks in, and then put some drawer guides in, and we'll see if our drawers fit. We're getting ready to put our jig in. You'll notice that I have slots cut top and bottom, and you'll see the reason for that right now. We have some blocks already installed, and this jig will fit over the top of the existing blocks. That gives our spacing to our next set of blocks. We're going to put just a little screw in the middle of this jig to hold it against the wall, and that tells us where our next blocks go, just like that. And we'll screw those in tight, and then we'll go one set more. So, next set of blocks, we'll screw those in. I wanted to point out that the screws that we use to put the blocks in are 1.25 inches. That's one of the reasons I wait to do it on the job, is I have my end panels, and so the 1.25 inch screw has double thickness to go to. The screws that I screw the drawer guide to the block are these little fat, they're called Euro screws, and that's what we screwed the drawer guide to the block, and they're very strong and they will hold the weight. Now let's slide our drawer guide in, our drawer in, our rollout shelf, I should say. Click, and full extension, and soft close. And that is how we do rollout shelves on Woodworking with Wes. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so that you can see these upcoming attractions when we do more jobs like this.